My name is Allison Umminger Madison, and I am a spiritual director affiliated with Ignatius House in Atlanta, Georgia. And I would like to reflect with you today on the story of Jairus. I think of Jairus as one of the noisier stories in the Bible. Jesus raises a sick girl from the dead, so it's like a resurrection, and he takes his good time doing it. But God is not always in the noisy parts of our stories. God is often in the quiet space, and I think this is true for the story of Jairus as well. So as we look at this story, I want to put aside the healing and look at this man himself, a man who goes on a journey. His daughter is dying, and in his pain, he seeks out Jesus. We don't know if this was his first thought, if they just sat around the synagogue going, oh, I don't know who that prophet is, but whatever, and it's his last resort. Who knows? We don't know what he was thinking. What we do know is that he was not placeless, nameless, exiled. He had a position of relative power, and we see he's about to lose the thing that matters most, his only child, his beloved daughter. So unlike the woman that we encounter later in Mark, the hemorrhagic woman, or any of the lepers and beggars that Jesus has come across, Jairus comes from a position of relative privilege, but when he reaches Jesus, something changes. He becomes one among many. Suffering, it appears, makes equals of all of us. So Jairus makes his request to Jesus, pleads for his daughter, and Jesus says yes, and Jairus joins the rest of the crowd. If we were to look just at the section that you got today, you might think this was a linear journey. Jairus asks Jesus, Jesus goes, Talitha cum, she's good. But it's not. Jesus takes his time. So what happens in this interim? Jairus presumably sees the hemorrhagic woman healed after years of suffering. I wonder, in that moment, did he leave the isolation of his own pain and really enter the suffering of another? Watching this burden that this woman had borne for years finally be lifted from her through an act of radical faith and almost transgression. We know she reaches out, right? She doesn't even ask. What might that have looked like, not just to Jesus, but to Jairus? I wonder if in that moment, he didn't become aware of himself as part of an ever-widening circle of humanity, where many suffer, where we all suffer, where we are all, in one way or another, in need of healing, and where every day miracles really do happen. We see that as the story goes on, Jairus goes with Jesus and hears, no, maybe this other healing took too long and his daughter has died. But Jesus says, Jairus, just have faith. And I wonder, would Jairus have been able to have faith, real faith, if he hadn't walked that extra stretch of road with Jesus and this other woman? So although it is a noisy, miraculous, fabulous story, I want to look at the story through this other lens. Jairus goes in search of a miracle and instead finds himself part of community. Why does it take Jesus so long? Again, maybe it's not Jesus who takes his time, but this instead serves as an illustration of the time it takes for our own hearts to be open enough to really meet the miracles that we seek. I also wonder what kind of leader Jairus might have been at the synagogue from that point forward. So as you sit and you read and you meditate on this story and on the journey of Jairus, I wonder if you might think as well, how open are you to your fellow travelers on this road of life? Where might their faith lend strength to your own? And where is Jesus inviting you to walk maybe even just a little farther out of your way on the way to the miracles you desire.